Hello, good evening, neighbors, friends, brothers and sisters. Tonight, I will be joined by distinguished leaders in our community to celebrate Black History Month. Before I do, I would like to acknowledge at this time the land that we know now as York Southwestern is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuits, Métis people. Welcome, brothers and sisters, neighbors, and friends. Tonight, we have gathered leaders in our community to celebrate Black History Month. And before I begin, and I will introduce also my guest quickly, you're also joining us live on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and also Facebook page, Faisal Hassan, NDP. Thank you for joining us for this evening's important celebration. Our province and our country has a long, rich history of Black excellence, one that is too often ignored. For generations, Black Canadians have been contributing to the political, cultural, and economic fabric of our society. We honor those leaders and celebrate the valuable work being done to support our community today. In 2018, the Ontario NDP elected several Black leaders from across the province, and I am proud to serve as member of the Ontario's first ever Black Caucus. And just this past weekend, we elected a dynamic Black leader, Janet Brady, as the first Black woman president of the Ontario NDP. The story of the greatness of Black history in Canada is being written every day, and I'm honored to be joined by local leaders who are adding pages to the local history of accomplishments here in York Southwestern tonight. And I'll start here. I have Station Frederick, Executive Director of Frontlines, Jacqueline Dorr, and Noel Livingston, Black Farmers Collective, Adam Sullivan, who will be joining us shortly. He's a Juno Award winner, Planet Africa Entertainment Award winner as well, and also a Double Tapa Award winner. And Ayana Francis, a young, inspiring, but also author of many books. So far, two I can remember: ABC, Where Are We? The West Indies, and ABC, and also Where Are We? ABC, Where Are We? Africa. These are also great books, and I'll be also sharing with you. I also have a copy here, and I'll tell you later on where you can get it, your copy as well. And also Abdi Haji Yusuf, Secretary Treasurer of Canadian Union Postal Workers, local Toronto, and Secretary of the Toronto York Labour Council. Welcome this evening, and those who are joining us live will be also including your comments and questions as the next part, a second part of the program tonight. But first, I will welcome stationed Frederick, Executive Director Frontline, to say to begin with, hello, and this is a Black History Month, and tonight we are. Also, we are proud of also the work the Frontline does for our young people. And I know that it has been a lot of challenges, but a lot of opportunities and excitement, and also from the work you have done. So welcome, Stationed.
Thank you for having me.
Very good. And also we have Jacqueline and Noel together. And welcome. You're muted there.
Thank you for having us.
Very good, very good. And Abdi Haji Yusuf.
Thank you, MPP Faisal Hassan, for hosting us in this important event, this important month. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And Ayana Francis.
Thank you, MPP Faisal, for having us today.
Very good. So tonight, that's an awesome. We're going to start with that quickly, but also I will also ask you quickly. What does it mean? Black History Month, and as we reflect and also talk about also issues that need to be improved, and also work together as well. And I know that there are also many opportunities to talk about, but tonight we would like also to hear from you and your reflections. I'll start stationed for you. What does it mean, Black History Month?
Hey, thank you. So Black History Month for me, there is a number of emotions that sort of arise for me during Black History Month. So one is definitely a celebration of our past, looking at the tremendous hurdles that our community has had to sort of overcome, but then also looking at the future. And so I'm very much future focused. Anyone would know me. I don't do a lot of long talking. It's about action in our community. And so for Black History Month is how do we change the history, the future of the young people that we serve, the community that we serve. One of the things I want to point out in any particular sort of forum that I'm at during Black History Month, I want to say this piece, that Black History Month has come as a point of tokenism for many organizations. This is the time where we reach out to Black folks to raise awareness, but it should be 365, and when it's a leap year, 366 days of the week in terms of looking at raising awareness. But also too, that there is this need to ensure that our Black people are paid accordingly during this time, because we're asked to do many different things during our time. And of course there's the spirit of collaboration and connecting and supporting, but especially when we have external organizations coming to our community and asking us to speak, that there must be a piece around equity for our time and resources, because I absolutely believe that if you're really true for Black History Month, is not just talking about, again, what our past, but is ensuring that there are sustainable futures, which means paying people accordingly and ensuring that there's employment and educational opportunities for all. So that's my sort of reflection on Black History Month.
Amazing. That's very important. And I know that organizations like Frontlines, that everybody in our community agrees that they're doing a fantastic job. And sometimes, and most of the times, they don't even have a co-funding to continue the work that is essential to support young people in our community. And I think this is also an opportunity to look those kinds of issues and to send a strong message to all levels of government that we need to work together, not just to grants, but also concrete support for continuation and growth, to make sure that our young people have spaces and places where they are supported. And thank you, Station. And I'll bring Jacqueline and Noel. I know that they have done fantastic job and also inspiring many Black farmers and also Toronto Black Farmers collectives. As you reflect tonight, and also as also Station said, we don't only celebrate the 28 days, but also 365 days of the year, every day. Yeah, there you are.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Name is Noel. By the way, my brother, you're looking well.
Thank you.
Thanks for your hard work and your tenacity. I'll just say a few words in terms of we all try our best to do a fantastic job. We understand the challenges that comes with this, especially in this time. We don't have to say we know exactly what we are living in now. We are looking as a Black Farmers Collective on a platform that is sustainable and is very inclusive. We talk about a collective, and that's that's the core of what we talk about. It's not to work in silo, but under one umbrella, regardless of what your skills are. Because we can be under one umbrella, you're doing something here, but it's still we complement each other, the work that we do. It's one family. If our approach is that way, then I think it'd be easier, because when you're in a corner by yourself, it's hard to accomplish. So the whole idea about collectivity is to make sure that it's inclusive of everyone. And so I hope as we continue this whole journey, first of all, we're Black every day, history every day. And so, like the sisters said previously, it's not a one-day thing. It's just a reminder that we must continue from where we took the baton from our ancestors, and to make sure that it's sustainable for many generations to come. We have to own and stop relying on everyone in terms of even communication as we speak. They can just snap us off. So we have to start looking as to how we can sustain ourselves. It's not being selfish, but we need us. Only us can liberate us. So that's all I have to say.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for your support,
Well,
community. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you. And also Jacqueline, yeah?
Thank you, MPP Hassan, for always keeping us on your roster and reminding us about these important initiatives that we get together as Afro peoples, diverse Afro peoples, to, again, talk about our excellence. And I don't talk about Black history. I say the time and the period of excellence, and we continue to live through those. And so in this time, we always tend to go back to what was historical. We are existing in a time that we are truly being historical in the things that we're doing, and the awareness that we raise, and also the self-reliance portion of it that we are teaching young people, that now you must rise up, you must take that baton and continue. We are here to support, we are here to share and pass knowledge on. And also we are here to, as Noel said before, create our own systems of economic development for ourselves, because as Stacian said earlier, everybody wants to speak to you, but nobody wants to compensate you for what you are valued and what you're worth. And so I always tell my people, anybody calls me, I'm like, well, this is what it costs. When you get a proposal from whoever, they already have consultation in there. Sometimes it's hourly, or they give you a big number and you're glad to pay it. But when you come to our community, you don't want to do that. So as we are in a very changing time in Canada and the world, I just continue to push for continued Black excellence, Afro excellence. And so we continue to find each other and create these platforms that are going to carry us forward in a sustainable way, in every way of our life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. And I know that the government has also a role to play to provide paid sick days, to provide a living wage, and to also provide opportunities to invest communities. And I know that Adam Solomon is having technical problems to join us, but we will connect you, Solomon, to try to just click the Zoom and you'll be able to join us. I'll bring now Abdi Haji Yusuf, who is also the Secretary Treasurer of the Toronto local Canadian Union Postal Workers, and also the Secretary of the Toronto York and Labour Council. I know that Abdi, you also this year, I think it was last year, also the Toronto York region Labour Council have made history also, electing the first woman, a Black woman, for the president of the York Toronto Labour, which you are also a secretary. So what does it mean Black History Month to you? I know that Tasha and Noel and Jacqueline and I also say it's not only 1 month celebrations, it's 365 days.
Thank you, Faisal. It's actually Andrea Babington was being re-elected for 2 years, the first Black woman who leads the biggest actually labor council in the whole country. Thank you, Faisal. even though February is the shortest and the coldest month in Canada, but it brings some important things. It brings us, not only us, the Canadian people, to remember and know our past, what we achieved, what we contribute to Canada, how much we build Canadians. It's also a month that we educate our children and plan for the future. The present we only living to prepare our generations to come, as the generation before us prepared us to today, from hardship to struggle. Where we are today, we are struggling. We're looking and praying. We only pray much and working hard. Our generations that will come will live better. And we will never forget the Black activism throughout helps all other minorities. When Black stands up and strong in any community, all other community around it also gets more rights, more strength. I wanna emphasize one thing about the Black people and the labor. So Black advocacy and activism has been the forefront of this country for a long, many years ago, from 18th century and beyond. We were part of building any organizations and unions that protect the workers' rights, whether they are unionized or ununionized. But the times change. We are among the most impacted time, like today, like pandemic, just put torch on what the Black people are facing. The Black people were the most impacted people or communities in this country. And the reason is the work we do. We were all on the frontline workers, whether we work in a cashier in a stores, whether we work a taxi driver or Uber driver, we were at the front line of everything. We help Canadians come over that hardship. We help Canadians to stay home and feed them. So there was inequality, first inequality, which is the workers, the Black workers didn't get what they deserve while they were working on the hard side. And the reason they were all on the front line where they did not even get the education they need because the government, systematic governments, stop them. So this month brings to light that all aspects of what we need for our communities, what we need for our communities in the future, where we want to be when something like that again happens. Back to you, Faisal.
Well, thank you very much, and I think you're right. And here in York Southwestern, the pandemic, and we had large frontline workers who are BIPOC, racialized, and women who have been essential workers who have actually moving everything in this community, and they don't even have a basic days, and when they get sick, they have to go to work. And we also were hit here because we have been termed as hotspots, especially the northwest regions. And thank you for reminding us that we need to make sure that workers are protected. And also for you guys, if you are not aware, the Canadian Union Postal Workers headquarters, Toronto region, is right in our community in Densley there. I'll bring my favorite children's author, Ayana Francis. I know we'll talk about your book and the beautiful illustrations as well, but I just want to ask you about a bit about what does it mean first to you about Black History Month and the reflections, and also asking what we need to do next year and now and forward to work together.
I feel like I'll echo the same thing that everyone's saying. Black history is not just about February, it's all year round. But from a children's book lens, since I guess that's a hat that I'm wearing tonight, I think it's just about inclusion of Black stories. And it doesn't always have to be surrounding enslavement or Black struggles. I think we're monolithic individuals, and we're not only about slavery, we're not only about the struggles that we face or our ancestors face. We have joy that we would like to share. We have diverse stories that we would like to share. So I feel like Black history is representing diverse stories, whether it's grieving, whether it's talking about cooking in the kitchen, whether it's traveling, just a reflection of everything that makes a Black individual, and for our kids to see themselves reflected in these different types of stories. So that's what I would say from an author lens.
Very good. And I know that this is your second children's book,
Yeah.
which is brand new. ABC, where are we in Africa? And I know that also the previous one was ABC, where are we, the West Indies? And folks, you can also get this book www.travelingfit one word books.com. And could you, explain to us, more about this book and the previous book, so that folks who are watching and tonight they can also where they can get and more details about it. It's beautiful illustration.
Well, so the Africa book is meant to be a book of knowledge. So as opposed to the stereotypical view of what Africa is, so poverty or people who were captured, just anything that the media tends to portray. This book talks about the jewels of Africa. So for instance, like that page, if you can stop at O, since you're already there,
Mhm.
that line reads, let's see, dress like Ouagadougou royalty on the most festive of days. Get bedazzled so that you sparkle, you will surely amaze. And this was an important line for me because it's a capital. Ouagadougou is the capital of Burkina Faso. And they have the African Film and Television Festival. So that's something that people don't really know. You hear about the Black Film Festival that Canada has, or Americans Film Festival, but you don't really hear about the African Film Festival. And then there are other pages like R is for Rwanda. So that says paddleboard through the River Nile and show off your amazing skills. So the world's longest river begins where Uganda's water spills. So that's basically just talking about a little bit of history and landmarks in Africa. This is what the book is about. So you're just showing your kids positive things or positive reflection of Africa as opposed to what is portrayed in the media. And I specifically wanted this to be a travel book. So as you travel through different countries in Africa, you're learning about either the pyramids, you're learning about the jacaranda's tree in Harare. You're also learning the flags of the different countries in Africa and territory. And then you're also learning the map in the book. So this, it's my second, so I felt it was a better version of the Caribbean one. Obviously, you end up developing your skills a little bit more, and you're learning from first book that you can implement in the second one. The Caribbean one was more a book of adventures. So still some cultural representation in it, but it's all about having fun. So whether you're flying a kite, whether you're playing steel pan, whether you're going to Don's River Falls, that's what the Caribbean book is meant to capture. And the Africa book is more about adventure as well, but it's more the knowledge that comes when going to Africa.
Amazing. And I know that your first book also was an excellent book. ABC, where are we, the West Indies? Would you like also to talk about what that book was about? Exactly. I know there was a great book taking young folks, the West Indies and those islands, beautiful islands.
Yeah, so there's a lot of complexity when it comes to the Caribbean. So for instance, Um, Within the Caribbean community, some of us would think Guyana, for instance, Belize, and Suriname are within the Caribbean Sea, but these are culturally Caribbean places. So what I wanted to do is just focus on the Caribbean Sea as opposed to talking about Caribbean culture in general, because it's meant to be a series. And as you're going through the series, you're learning different geographical places. So with the West Indies, although 2 places in this book is not really in the Caribbean. However, when you look at any Caribbean maps, they always put it in. So Turks and Caicos and the Bahamas, that's not really part of the Caribbean Sea. However, if you do a Google search, it's always included. So I decided to just replicate that and include it too. But for those that do know, it's not really in the Caribbean Sea. So let's see. One of these lines is, because I'm Trinidadian, I will talk about Trinidad. And this is the newer version of the book, because I guess I was a little blessed that the books got sold out really fast. So now the new versions is coming, and I have 4 that was mailed to me, and the rest is being shipped by sea currently. So for Trinidad, it says, Trinidad and Tobago has a love for steel pan. Its rhythm will have you swing with the band. So that's during carnival time is something that most Trinidadians will take part in, watching people play steel pan. And it's a big part of our culture. So during Christmas time, we have something called parang, and we play steel pan. Even in Toronto's carnival, steel pan is a big part of the carnival as well. So that was included. Then if you look at one of the lines for, let's say, Castries. So Castries is the capital of St. Lucia. And the line that I use for that is, find local fruits at Castries Central Market, and on your map, be sure to mark it. So it's just about really kids going and exploring the Caribbean Sea and having fun while they're doing it.
Amazing. And how do people, if they want tonight, watching or later on to watch on YouTube or our other platforms, how can they get those books and where can they get it? And
Well, what I'm trying to do is create like a dialogue around the books. So I use my Instagram to tell a story too. So I do suggest that people follow my Instagram, which is Traveling Feet Books. So traveling with 2 L's. Feet Books, and it's the same thing for the website. So it's travelingfeetbooks.com. And on my Instagram, there is research that's done that I do a connection between the Caribbean and the West Indies. So I show kind of sort of like a linkage. And then there are separate moments that I talk about the jewels that Africa has, the African countries has, and as well as the jewels that the Caribbean countries have. So if you just want to purchase the book, you can go on my website, travelingfeetbooks.com, or if you want to know a little bit more about what I'm doing strategically, you can follow me on my Instagram account, which is Traveling Feet Books.
amazing. That's great. And before we also come back to you guys, I think we have another person, Lynn Hat M. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Could you identify yourself? I think is joining us. Yes. And also turn on your camera.
Oh, I'm not able to turn on my camera right now.
Okay.
But
So you are
yeah,
with
I'm here.
the Toronto Black Farmers?
Yes,
Okay, very
yes,
good.
I'm
That's all
here.
right then. Very good. You're here to support us. Very good. Would you like to also say anything? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, I love what Black history means to me. Everything that everyone was saying, I actually just got into the conversation about, because Black history is not just supposed to be in February. We're learning this and we're applying this to our lives. And I think that's what's the most important, that we're recognizing that we have to celebrate ourselves all the time, and we have to celebrate each other all the time, the wins, and educate ourselves on the losses, so that we can learn from any mistakes going forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great and very good. Just give me a minute. I will just try something here. What am I looking for? I can't do it. Okay, no worries, no worries. All right, no worries. So we will come back, and I want also, I know that Frontlines does a lot of great things. I know Station is here with us tonight. Would you tell us, the opportunities young people have with Frontlines and how you can also people can contact and the programs you offer as well? Yeah.
Oh, sure. Thanks so much. So, Frontlines is a youth charity in the York Southwestern area, and in fact, our organization has grown significantly, and we've merged into other communities. About 99% of the youth that we serve identify as Black, and thus our programming seeks to respond in a very culturally relevant way. And we serve youths between the ages of 6 to 29 with a mission of addressing these young people's pressing needs. And I always say, while our mission is simple in the words that we say, it's large in its intended impact, because we know that the needs of our Black youth are very large, because there's so much systemic discrimination and barriers that are placed in terms of their success. So with that mission and us being very responsive, we provide programming, as I said, from youths 6 years old up to 29. So whether it's our education programs, our tutoring program, our cooking programs for 6 to 12, our summer camps, we have our March break camps. So if there's any, families that are looking to have their kids involved in March break camp, we provide that. For the 13 to 17, we provide mental health programs, violence prevention programs, cooking programs, employment programs. For the 18 to 29, we provide employment programs. We have a culinary training program, again, for youths 18 to 29. We invite them to come to us to get training in the culinary skills, and they help to produce meals for the community. So we actually have a meal distribution program for the community, and again, providing culturally relevant food in the programming. But just as an example of some of the projects and how, again, making it culturally relevant. So in one of our programs, which is called What's on My Plate, it's to help youth talk about mental health issue, an issue that is, sort of stigmatized in our community, but through conversations, through food. So one of their recipes that they created was "Don't Jerk Me Around." So it was jerk chicken that they were making, learning how to make, but then the conversation was around bullying. Right. And so that is how we, engage, looking at some, cultural foods and whatnot. But one of the key pieces, so, I love all the programs at Frontlines, but the two most important drivers of success for me as an organization is within our education programs and our employment programs. So yes, we can have all the fun, the arts, the sports, all of that, but to get people out of poverty, it has to be around education, and it has to be around employment. So in our culinary program, for example, we have a catering business, and we actually have a space that is to be a restaurant shortly. We have an entrepreneurship program for the 18 to 29. So we're teaching them business, but we now have a pop-up store where they can actually sell their products. So it's about creating sustainable sort of funding for our young people, for our community, because that is what is sort of lacking. And just recently, we were awarded a grant in terms of being able to provide subsidies to businesses. And so one We train our young people in employability skills, but we know that it's not enough to just train our young people, because when they are trained, but when they go to jobs and they are denied access to jobs, what's the point of training our young people? It sets up a sense of failure and a sense of hopelessness when they're not accessing jobs. So we as a community must find ways in which must also be able to find ways to connect them to employment. And sometimes we have to speak the language of businesses, which is money. And so the piece is, how can we provide subsidies for businesses to hire our young people? And so that is the particular program. And in that, because again, historically, many of the businesses that have been helped through programs like that don't look like us. So I have a focus of making sure that some of those subsidies get into the hands of Black businesses, because that's the only way our community is actually going to succeed, when there is sustainable businesses, sustainable young people. Like it's a whole entire sort of ecosystem of success. We can't just work with youth. It has to be that whole sort of continuum piece. And so any opportunity that I get, I speak about that. If anybody is interested in terms of getting involved in Frontlines, particularly at this time, I would say it's in that employment focus program for our young people, the entrepreneurship program, and our educational program. And I just want to highlight something that I am not seeing our community talk about a lot right now. And I want to highlight, because I'm seeing this at Frontlines. So we know that in our community, we have issues around single parent families. And some of our single parent families, the kids of these single parent families have now lost their only parent. And so we have a generation of orphans that is being created because of the pandemic. And so I don't want it's the physical reality, because, let's say their father is not around and now their mother is not around. And so it has a different type of orphan sort of syndrome that I'm coming. And so we as a community have to ensure that we're providing wraparound services. And it's almost what we saw in the HIV/AIDS pandemic, let's say in Africa, where you had grandmothers now becoming caregivers. That's what you're seeing more and more in our community because of this pandemic. And we have to ensure that our kids are not falling through the wayside. So I just wanted to highlight that, and Frontlines is being there to ensure that there's some supports for our community in that arena.
Well, thank you, Station. We thank you for the work you're doing. I know the work the Frontline does is great to have in our community, in the heart here in Weston. And I know that also small businesses, mainly run by PAC and women, are the hardest to hit. We've lost WIF, we've lost Perfect Plan and others. And I can, and many members of our community, unemployment also, youth unemployment is highest, on average in our community compared to any other communities. We need more help, and we need more investment in working organizations such as, Frontlines, that are doing a fantastic job to work together and solve those issues. Still, Adam Sullivan is having technical problems. I don't think he will be able to join us tonight, but I'll bring Abdi Haji Yusuf of the Toronto Canadian Union of Postal Workers, and also the Secretary of the Toronto York Region Labour Council. And I know that it's very difficult. Workers are now being really having difficult period, because they are not compensated well, and also labor have a lot of challenges. What are the opportunities and how we can work together, especially in the Black community? Many of them, their jobs are not unionized.
Thank you, Faisal. It's an important question, actually, and this question comes at a time that we're celebrating, we're remembering, not only celebrating what the Black communities are facing, the systematic racism that the Black community are facing. So what we all know, and it's not secret, and thank you for all of you, the work you do every day. What we all know is the Black communities are the most impacted communities in this time because they were all doing the frontline workers, working at the stores, at the taxi, as I said it previously. And the problem we had, and I will say it, Faisal, although it's only celebration, we did not get from any government the help, our organizations, the help they need, our communities, the help we need. So I see every day, because I'm also part of organizing the gig workers, our unions organizing. I see young women and man, all Black origin, whether they are from the Caribbean of Africa, struggling and suffering. I see them looking for opportunity. We passed generations ago slave trade, slave working in farms. Today, they're doing the same indirectly. Our children are earning the minimum, are getting the worst opportunity possible from the government we pay tax to. So what the Black communities need, and with the help of the labor organizations, unions, and councils, and OFL, Ontario Federations, is to have a voice and a vote on the table to elect people look like us, to remember who we are. When I campaign sometimes through elections, I knock some Black focus doors and they tell me point blank, we don't vote, or we don't participate, or we don't like. That is not the case anymore. Our lives are on stake. Our children has no work. The Black community is the most impacted community in the whole country through this pandemic. So we need to elect people look like us, people that think like us, people who will protect, who will give our children and the generation behind that the opportunities. We need to elect the people who will support the organizations that you represent tonight, whether it's financial. The mental illness that Stachan talked about, it's something that exists and nobody talks about it. And our community is the most who is suffering. Because naturally and generally our communities are people that goes out through sunny day, gather together, work and share. We cannot do all that. Everybody's chill in a small room or wearing masks, don't come close to it. Most Black communities are touchy communities. We touch each other, we hug each other, we sing together. We cannot do that anymore. Our organizations that was trying to advocate for us don't get enough money because of the people we elect. So it is such an important part of our lives today. And we should advocate and tell our children that this is important part to elect people look like us, to elect people who will carry our voices to the table, people who will fund the organizations that represent us, people who will come and make our neighborhood safe. They always talk about Black children kill each other because there was no opportunity, because there was no enough resource for them to grow and mature and prosper in this community. So we have to come together. We have to take each and every one of us responsibility to pass it on to the people who are not here tonight, to wake them up, to say it's the time. Back to you, Faisal.
Well, thank you very much, Abdi. I mean, you've talked about, I know that the community benefit is very important for the government projects and other projects as well. I see also Adam Sullivan joining us. I'll come to you, Adam. But I know that also the impact of Eglinton across town corridor, how it impacted, Little Jamaica and also Killsdale. And that was almost 12 years those small businesses are struggling and they haven't been getting any support. And that's why I'll bring quickly Jacqueline and Newell, and they're doing a fantastic job in terms of creating solutions to for food, and also organizing Toronto Black collective farmers. Tell us more about it.
So everybody can hear me. So yes, I'm just going, I'm going to keep it brief. International Decade for People of African Descent from 2015 to 2024 has not a request, but a demand to the government, federal government of Canada, as one of, I think, 3 or 5 recommendations. And this one that I'm going to put on the table needs to be, it's urgently needed. So other things we are talking about tonight, individually through our organizations, on our everyday path, we need a federal institute for people of African descent, African peoples, so that all these issues are dealt with at a federal level. We are funded. We should not be applying for funding. It should be a no-brainer that all of these socioeconomic issues that we live and exist with, whether in our communities or in our employment, places of employment, healthcare, education, family, should be funded. The federal government, this federal government has been playing games. And so I see that their own people are dismantling that system as we speak. Right now, our community has been talking a lot about the Black vote. And I hear people say that, they're encouraging people to run for office, but it takes so much more financially to run for office. And so if you don't have people supporting you, or we have real economic support, viable financial support to put candidates, like I see something like the NDP have been doing, it is very difficult. And so for the changes we need to see, we have to have the like-minded folks, as the brother just said, going in there with an agenda to ensure that they're enforced, there's a legislation created, there are policies created, and that our people are a part of the decision-making process. And they don't handpick their friends to give the purse to, or to place them at these, whether it's an institution or at a table or in a group, a committee, to say, hey, look over here. We are acknowledging your issues, and these are your people that are sitting at this table. I'm not interested in that. And come this year, my work is going to change very drastically, because food now in the general community and our community have scaled up 300%. And what we see happening in Ottawa is going to be even more than that, because there's going to be more people coming, looking for food, looking for service, looking for programs and opportunities as it pertains to food. But the resources for us are less. We are now tasked with a $10,000 a year fee to operate out of Downsview. This is federal land. So there's a whole lot of issues to talk about, and not just talk about. We need to get back to activism work, like what Dudley Laws were doing, and a whole bunch of other social activists were doing in this city and in this province and across this country. We still have some of them, but they're older now, and many of us are not sitting at their feet and learning and being activated to do what we need to do. But we truly are. We, the people, are the government, and we need to take back that voice. Thank you.
Very good. Neil, yeah?
I just want to say that in a nutshell, that and the whole issue around food, we use food as that magnet to pull people to talk with. And we can't really talk about food justice unless you're actually doing things. But what we found out when we started out early, we did invite our community to be a part of it. And we were not asking people to work for us, because first of all, we didn't have money. We said, let's work together and build unfortunate people. We're called the Black Farmers Collective, not because it's a Black movement, but because Black people are the ones who are leading the charge once and for all. And so I think when it comes to us as a community to build and to be sustainable, the first thing with our children we have to do, we have to set the example, number one. And we have to start training our children. I find that there's a divide, there's a disconnect within the family. Most of the time, the men are not there. And even if they are there in the home, they are not there because the interaction with the man and wife is not there. And so the children, the children are there and they're over there, especially with this technology and stuff now, they don't really interact with parents. And so when it comes to these settings and stuff, these forums and all these things, they need to be present. We have to start grooming them because their children, some of our leaders, by the way, were out there leading the charge is because, and I say ours, like, governments, they groom their children. It's not because they're smarter than ours. They just groom them from there. So they're very familiar with leadership, what it is to manipulate the system. And so their parents were our leaders. And now we didn't take up the baton to do whatever, although we were deprived. But the argument I'm putting forward is simply this, that we have to train them, no matter how simplistic it might look. They need to be in our presence when we are putting forward whatever our demands are. And they need to be a part of that and stuff. And so, food is just one aspect of what we do. But like Jackie mentioned, it's about advocacy. And unfortunately, we were demonized when we came up with this, this thing. They actually just ostracized us. They cut off the pipeline, no money. And so we had to go through that mill of suffering, but we're still here. And I'm simply saying that we are inviting everyone to be a part of, not necessarily the Black Farmers Collective, but be a part of this community initiative where we start interacting with each other in a very physical way, because we're very eloquent when we speak, but we are not, I find that we are very, when it comes to the application, we really not doing what needs to be done. And so, and I'm saying this to all of us, so I'm not pointing fingers at everybody as individuals or groups, whatever. I'm saying that we have to do a little bit better. Yes, there's no money, and and one thing before I go, when there's money allocated for us, and because everything is color coded, we hear about Black people and then we hear people of color. And so they try to use that to divert the monies and stuff, and we don't know how to identify ourselves. We need to stop allowing people to determine what we look like or who we are. We must say who we are. And this is a confusion. They try to label us with names, and we answer. It does not define you. So don't answer to those names that they're calling us. We know we're African people, period. And those of us who are not proud of who we are, well, we're in a problem here. But let's stand up for who we are and stop allowing people to determine who we are and what we should do. We are very capable and competent to take care of our own affairs.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. I know that Adam Sullivan had challenged to join us, and I'm so happy that he joined us and solved that technical issues. Adam Sullivan is a Juno Award winner and Planet Africa Entertainment Award winner and doubled Tama Award winner. I see you have your music, you're ready to entertain us, but before you do that, tell us your reflections about the history, Black History Month, and what it means to you, Adam Sullivan.
Black History Month means a lot to me, and one thing which I really want to talk about is, just as what our brother here was talking about, the community needs to come together. Our people need leadership, and that leadership is not, I'm not talking about the kind of leadership of here, but the leadership of love that we as Africans, especially we who come from Africa home, because most of the people here are confused because of the life how it is. Father's not there, mother's not there. There is a reason why that happens, and we know why that happens. And one of our sisters here talked and said that, oh, if there was grandmother done this and that and that, that is what we want. I would like to be sprayed around our Black community. But this will only work if we can always come together, not only, as the sister said, not only Black History Month only one day, no, but throughout the year. Now this is about of getting our people together. That's the mission. The main mission, once we get them together, then we will discuss about our problems, about this, about father's not there and mother's not there. Those are very, very easy things to be putting together, and the children, so they can have a good life, because children without the parents, of course, they're scattered. They will not know anything. What they'll be knowing is just running out there and having trouble and getting to trouble and this and that. It should not be like that, because the children don't have a senior or somebody who can advise them or give them advice. So that our people here miss a lot, and we see that and we know that, and everybody knows it here. Is because of the way finances are in their family, and that a man has to work very hard and the mother has to work very hard. Sometimes they cannot even make it, and then that brings frustration. And when frustration comes in the family, these two people, father and mother, who are the head of the family, cannot live together. And then the child remains, of course, the law here says the child has remained with the mother, so it remains with the mother, and the father is out there, but he doesn't have time to go, because things now become, hate is created there. This is a system, So we have to create a way of beating that system by coming together. And by coming together means to support each other and to support these families which have been broken, and to advise them. But this will only be done if we can be getting together throughout the year, not only through Black History Month to talk about, I don't know, this and that. No, this is the important thing, because once a mother and a father can't get along, that means it's like a bomb which fell there, and the family is discussed. But if they can be together and raise the children, then the children will be happy and they'll know how to live well. And so we miss that. And that is the very, very, very important thing. Since when I come to this country, I've been looking to see when you see a father and children but has no children, or the mother only has children, and then there's a lot of police stuff going on there because the fathers needed to give the mother. So, but that hate is created there. It's not, they don't know, okay? They don't know. These two people, the father and the mother, they don't know what is playing around them. You understand? So we have to get to teach our people and let them know this is why this happens, and find a solution of taking that away. So any kind of this throwing of stones unto us, when it comes, we have a shield. We call it ngao. Ngao is a shield. It blocks things like that. And how do we block things like that? By supporting each other and making our community to be strong in coming out of such problems. Because first of all, employment is very, very important. And if the parents can't get employment to make it enough for their living, look at the expenses of life now. Of food. Now you go to the store, food is too high. Your place where you live, where you have to pay for your house or rent, is too high. And when they go up there to work, they don't even make that kind of money. You understand me? And children will want to have Christmas, or will want to have their holidays, or they want to have things to wear, and it's a lot. It becomes a lot to these parents who are growing up. So these things have to be discussed. All these things we need to talk about, and that's why our people cannot be able to raise families and be strong together. And once you are scattered, once you are scattered, that is the game of this way, of the systematic racism. It is created that way so that we cannot be, your children can be. It's another way of slavery, let's say, because when the child knows nothing, so what he has to do is he's going to be running by himself. He's like an antelope which has no parent. He's vulnerable to be eaten by predator outside there. And that's what they want. So we have to stop that by getting together every time and talking about the things. We can ask our leaders, like our MPPs, like our MPP here, to find us a way of getting loans and programs for parents, for parenting kids, whereby our own people, not other people, okay? Other people do not teach them how we teach them. Our own people to be closer to. If a parent doesn't have somebody to watch children, these other elders people, the people in our community, they should be given that job and teaching our children how life is. Otherwise, we cannot make it. We'll say we're black or all this and that, but it will be nothing, and we're not going to do anything. It's going to be every time you hear our children out there, oh, something bad has happened, because there's no teaching. So a father, if there was no father, there's a grandmother. If there's no grandmother, there is another person in the family, or somebody who is close to the family who looks after the children. I was raised by my aunt, and because of her, I became, I did not have any problem, but I grew up to be a good kid because there was somebody to look after me. There was somebody who was teaching me, and if I did wrong, I was told, no, this is not the way. This, you have to go do this and do this. And so even here, our children need to be taught that way and to be put in our wings so they can grow well and show them love, not neglecting them and say, oh, they are blacks from Caribbean, or the blacks from, I don't know, from which country, or so we separate each other. No, we are one. First of all, most of the black people they all came from Africa. There's no place you guys who live in the West, either you are from the Caribbean or from farthest part of the world where you came from. You came from that land called Africa. And I'm sure some of you, even right now, if I do my test of my DNA, I'll find something very similar to some of you here, right here.
Very
and you'll be even surprised.
Thank you,
So,
Adam. I know that you are a musician. You have won many awards. Is there a specific song for the occasion before we sign off? You will sing for us for a song.
I'm gonna sing here. It's a song called Meeting. Natarisa, Madimyana Bola. Nimi thinking, meeting Yana Kola. Natarisa, Madimyana Kola. Mikutano, Mikutana yana bole. Mikutana yana bole. Sala kaimanya machero. Bumbo kamanya machero. Machero katika. Sala kaimanya machero. Machero katika. Machero katika. We think it, mana kola. Natarisa, magig mana kola. Tiki.
Very good.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, thank you. And before we sign up, I will give you and each of you a last comment, concluding comments. Maybe I'll start with Jacqueline and Newell, and then Station.
So thank the most divine one for bringing us together. And thank you, MPP Hassan. I would like you to become the MP.
Yeah, he's
Next
going
Prime
to
Minister of
be.
the country. So we need leadership, as the brother said, and we have to look for that within and
Yes.
around us, amongst us. So I want to say thanks for inviting us, being steadfast and always having these events and opportunities where you bring us together and giving us a space so that we can continue to connect and air our grievances and continue to learn about each other's work. Thank you.
Thank you. And Newell?
I want to say thank you, Mr. Hassan, for your tenacity, your strength. And I'm just asking us as a community to surround you. You have reached out for all of us, but you also need our strength. And it's very important for us to support the work that you're doing. And as a member of the Black Farmers Collective, I just want to say thanks for all the support. And, and not in a rude way, you're not really supporting us, you're supporting all of us. Yeah. And we're in this thing together, especially now that food is ridiculously high. We're going to try to do our best to see how much we can grow, and let's see how much we can share. Yeah. Thank you.
Station?
Well, I want to thank everybody for being here, for sharing your words of wisdom. Thanks for all those who joined in. Thank you, MPP Faisal Hassan, for your continued support to Frontlines. You never cease to come to any of our events. And so thank you for that. I would just say one final thing. I would say, as a community, we must look at investing in our community in terms of capital buildings. We need to look at ownership of buildings. I will be embarking on a campaign in terms of looking at having a youth excellence center for our Black youths. And I hope people can join on in that vision for our community. And again, thank you for this opportunity to speak today.
Thank you. Abdihaj Yusuf?
Thanks, my brother, my friend, our MPP Faisal Hassan. Everyone who is here tonight and everyone who will watch this on YouTube in the future can become part of a change we need for our community. And I urge you, whether it's today, 1 year from now, many years from now, to connect to your community. We used the word community tonight many, many times. Only as a community, we can win this together. Only as a community, we can take care of our community. We cannot wait like Ford or people like him or people, other politicians to come and save us. The community can save the community. I urge you to connect to each other. I urge you to help each other to vote and bring the change you need by voting in the person you need. Thank you, Faisal. It was a pleasure, and thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ayana Francis. Yes.
Thank you for having me. What I would like to say is I feel like within the school board, the library, it's very important when you think about the development of a child's mental health. It's great that we learn about the past and our past pain, but we shouldn't only hold on to that pain. We should try to introduce kids to happy moments and to celebrate the good uh, and achievement in the Black community. So I think when it comes to literature, we need to have, again, like diverse representation, teach kids about where they came from, the struggles that their ancestors had to overcome for them to be here presently, but to also, in order to sustain a healthy mental health, just introduce them to an array of positive depiction of the Black community. So that is what I'm trying to do with my books. Again, you can get it at travelingfeetbooks.com, and my Instagram account is travelingfeetbooks. 2 L's in traveling. And thank you so much for having me, and hope you guys continue to support me on this journey.
Thank you for support, Ayana Francis. This is her second book, and it's an excellent. Takes you to all places and also educates young people. Support her again, and you can get it travelingfitbooks.com. And also, I'll come finally to Adam Sullivan, a Juno Award winner, and also a winner of many awards. Extremely talented, and also teacher for music for our young kids here in the community. What would you like to say, Solomon, for your last thoughts tonight?
My last thoughts, which I want to say, first of all, I want to thank you, MPP, Faisal Hassan, and say that we people here in this riding, we are so blessed to have an MPP like you, who is always there for us. And I believe that most of our people here love you, and that we are obligated to vote for you in this riding, and especially because you are very concerned with the things that concern us. You are always there to talk with people, and people now have more attention of you because of your good work that you are doing. And so I encourage brothers and sisters to put more support and notify even the others who maybe are either lagged behind, to try and get them also to join this journey, so that all together we can be together, and whenever we have meetings like this with our MPP. But my last thing is say that thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and I want to thank the participants in tonight's discussion, celebration, reflection of Black History Month. Jacqueline Newell, Adam Sullivan, Station, and Ayana Francis, and Abdi Haji Yusuf. Thank you. The month of February is meant to shine a light of the contributions of Black Canadians, the pioneering work of leaders like Lincoln Alexander, Viola Dustman, and Zanana Akande cannot be encapsulated in just one month. I take the responsibility of sharing this history with me throughout the year, and I am proud to support the effort of local leaders like tonight's guests to ensure that we continue to add pages to the rich storybook of Black Canadian excellence. To those of you who are watching us tonight, thank you for joining us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Faisal Hassan. I see Adam Sullivan would like to say a last word.
I want to say this. Maybe in the future we should have festival, that when things are, when things get better, so that people can get together also and have something and talk together, to display also work from like from our sister Ayana here and others who have got their stuff, so people can see exactly the work that they do.
Amazing. Well, thank you. That was it, folks. The last word. Adam Sullivan, to you, those of our neighbors, friends, brothers and sisters, thank you. And remember, Black History Month is not only 1 month, it's 365 days. Support one another. And folks, thank you for watching us. And thank you for joining us. And thank you to each and everyone. Bye until another day. Oh, I will join you tomorrow, actually, at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. the same time. Ciao. Bye.